Hey everybody, it's Christian Cadera. I'm sitting here with DC Douglas of Mass Effect, Resident Evil, and a plethora of commercial and TV work voice-over fame. Mr. Douglas, why voice acting?
Because nobody likes my face. Why voice? Well, voice acting was accidental, actually. It kind of came secondary to the main career that I came to LA for, which is using my face and my eyes for on-camera film and TV stuff. And I came to LA when I was 19, and I had the voice of a 40-year-old. And oddly enough, I didn't book a lot of work that way, because they would bring me in for because I looked really young too. I looked younger than my age. I think I still do. But they'd bring me in for 21 Jump Street to be a high school kid. And I'm 20 years old, and I looked like I could be 17. And then I open my mouth and I'm like, yeah, I really didn't like history class today. And it just didn't fly for them. But one of the first acting places I went to, when I first came to LA, I auditioned for a lot of different acting schools. This was before the internet, because I'm old. And I'd gone through the yellow pages to find the schools to audition for. One of them was miscategorized, and it turned out to be a voiceover coach, this lady by the name of Barbara Gill. And so she was very cool, and she said, she was very, I went and I did my monologues for her, and she laughed because she said, I'm a voiceover coach. People don't usually audition for me. They just hire me. And she said I had a great voice, and I should try learning there. So actually I studied voiceover for 6 months before I started my actual acting workshop, which was an accredited school I went to for 4 years. And so in those 6 months with her, I kind of got the basis for word color and accents and all of that stuff. And then I went into acting, which, by the way, I do think is a bit backwards. I think it's good to start with acting and singing. If people are interested in voiceover, they should start with acting and singing classes and improv classes, then go and take voiceover classes, because having an acting background helps out so much. And I had been studying acting since I was a teen anyway. But getting back, can you tell I'm all over the map here? I'm sorry. I'll answer your question. So what happened was, I was getting nowhere with my on-camera career, and I was desperate for money. And I had an agent, a non-union agent at the time, and she said, why don't we have these 900 commercials, these 1-900 this. They were making 900 commercials for everything back then, when it was in the heyday of 976 and 900 numbers. So she said, you've got a nice voice, go and audition for this. I did. I booked it. Then they started hiring me for all their stuff. And that was the beginning of the voiceover world. And then it segued more into, theatrical voiceover stuff when I hooked up with this, what they call a Walla group at this one post-production house. And the Walla is everything you hear in a movie that's in the background. So, for instance, you see people at a restaurant and they're not the leads. They're not really talking. They put that in afterwards. And so that started doing that kind of stuff. And then that led to meeting other production houses, and then they would have me in for other more peculiar things. Somewhere along the line, it turned into coming in and dubbing for anime stuff. And that's when and then the anime is what led to video games. And all along, I'm still, looking at it as a secondary career, and that the on-camera is my main career. Even today, when I look at my career and I look at my income, I make, I probably make 75% of my money or more. I'm going to say more. I'm going to say 80% of my money is made from voiceover, commercials primarily, and then narration and video games and that kind of stuff. Not much anime anymore. 20% is for film and TV work that I get occasionally. Because, if I do a commercial, one commercial that plays nationally will pay me, in that 1 year, let's say, a lowball, 10 grand for that year. That's really low for a national spot. But I go work a week on a sitcom, I'll make $2,500. But I came to LA because I want to act with my eyes and my voice and my face and my body. And so though I love voiceover, it never is fully what I want to be doing, which is the on-camera stuff. That was such a long answer. Whew.
Well, you're making my job easy. My part of that was 3 words.
You know what? It's a good thing I'm not drinking also, because then you'd have to bleep half of what I was saying, and it would go on longer.
So to follow up on your answer there, have you grown into your voice?
I don't know. What do you think? No, I don't know. Have I grown? Yeah, I think I've grown. Yes, actually, no, I will say I have. You want to know why? You know how I know? Because, and I'm talking, in my upper register right now, but, when I want to play, when I have to play an intimidating character, I like to get down and talk in this voice. I like to be down here. And when I would do that, when I was 35, nobody would buy it. Did his little baby face trying to talk like this. Yeah, you think you can take me? Well, of course you can, because I'm a pussy. But but now when I do that voice, I actually book the gig. I did a sheriff. Was he a sheriff or he was a cop in this movie called Helen Alone. I booked last year where he's a psycho cop that goes crazy and goes after the lead actress. Would have never gotten that role like even 5 years ago. And then I just booked one. This one's a sheriff actually, who's also like he runs this small town. He's intimidating and intimidating, which is not something that my face would ever get before. But now because of age and because everything is starting to fall and sink in, and I guess that looks manly to other people, and it matches the voice. So yes, I think I've grown into my voice.
Hero or villain? Which one's more fun to play?
Villain. Villain's always more fun. The heroes are boring. They get more screen time, but they're boring.
Why are they boring? Because they're cookie cutter, or?
Well, no, they're not cookie cutter. If you have a flawed hero, that could be fun. That could be very interesting. And flawed heroes are very entertaining. But even if you have that's the thing. If you have a choice between a flawed hero or a stereotypical bad guy, I'll take the flawed hero. But if you have your stereotypical good guy, stereotypical bad guy, I take the stereotypical bad guy. Most bad guys, they have, there's several levels going on with them these days because there's that whole advent that started in, I guess it was, it started in the 70s, but it really didn't become like main television fare until HBO and Showtime got going. And now it's all shows have flawed characters. That's human beings. Nobody is 100% one thing. And so it's all interesting now, but, I always gravitate more towards, the bad ones. But listen, I audition for whatever they put in front of me and I take whatever role they cast me in because I don't have that luxury of being able to choose. Most people don't until you're at the very, very top echelon.
Are there any voice actors that are on the top echelon?
They would be on-camera celebrities as well that would have that kind of choice. There's even like like right now Troy Baker is working crazy. He's like in everything. He can turn down things, yes, but he doesn't get to say I want to do that role, or he doesn't get 5 different games and says which game do you want to do. It's like he's still taking the work as he can get it. So it's just that he's like right in that sweet spot, and he's good at what he does, and he's well known in town, so he's getting to book a lot of that work. But it's still not the same as like Tom Cruise, or name anybody. Name what's her name? Jennifer Lawrence right now. She's getting all these offers. Now, mind you, that's like a short window. Because then you can look at other famous actors now that aren't getting lots of scripts to choose from, but they were famous, 10 years ago. But now they actually have to go and meet a director and do the whole BS routine.
Now, who has a longer shelf life, the voice actor or the onstage actor?
Were you talking about the theater actor? You're saying?
Yeah.
As opposed to film and TV.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. But you know what? Because I kind of left theater a while ago. Because theater in LA, you can find really good theater in LA, but a lot of it sucks because it's showcase theater and all of that, and no one goes and sees theater in LA, which makes it really disheartening. So I probably wouldn't be the best to say. But here's the thing: as an actor, you can always act. So I mean, when I'm 70, there'll be roles for 70-year-olds. When I'm 80, I can still go and act on stage. There's probably more theater that I can go out and do. Not make any money doing, but go and do. So I'll have a longer career that way. But I mean, what makes a career? Is it how much money you make, or is it the fact that you're doing what you love? Do you have to be able to do you have to survive on the money you make from acting for it to be considered a career? It's more debatable in this area because it's such an unusual field. There are only so many jobs, and the amount of people that can fill them, there's thousands for each role. So,
Now, to follow up back on your first answer again, is there how different is the skill set for voice work as opposed to live work?
Well, you're all drawing on truth ultimately. So it all starts in the same place, and then as you grow outward from there, it begins to change depending on the medium. So and the funny is, every actor works differently. I tend to start with the voice as an actor for my on-camera stuff. Even when I did theater, I started kind of with the voice, and then the body would begin to follow, and the characterizations. Now, but with theater, you have the discipline is such that you can rehearse for 4 weeks or 6 weeks, depending on the show, and you have so much time to have all these discoveries, and then you go and you perform it, and you have the beauty of being uninterrupted for 90 minutes. So you are completely in character that whole time. Or, if you're on and off stage, there's still a flow. There's no stopping. And so you can actually achieve a little bit of a Zen experience by doing theater, and also the live interchange between you and the audience. It's a magical thing, and it's fun, and it's wonderful. Now, depending on the size of the theater, you have to sometimes be a little larger than life so that it plays to the back rows, or at least be louder so that they can hear you further back. A lot of times they mic you these days, but still, there's more projection, a little more physicality involved so that it plays. And because of that, but you still have to be connected to the truth. But because of that, if I then go from doing a 500-seat theater show, and then I go in and move into television, it changes dramatically at that point. One is I don't get the rehearsals, so I have to build this character on my own. Usually, you have to be basically character ready when you walk into the audition, and they are booking, they're hiring you based off of your audition, so they want that when you go to set. And then you're going to set, and your script is changing as you get there. They're making rewrites every night, depending on the type of show. Sitcom, it changes every day up until the shoot day, and then on shoot day, it even changes while you're shooting. If it's episodic, you're still getting certain rewrites throughout the 10 days that they're shooting that episodic, and you may get the scene. You may be able to do the scene in its entirety, but you don't get to do that whole episode in its entirety. But even in that scene, you're breaking it down sometimes into sections, and it's going to be shot from different angles. So you have to recreate what you were doing in one for the next. So that takes a whole different kind of skill set that's different. So you have to alter and then pick up these skills for television and for film. So then when you go into voiceover, one of the things you're missing, because with film and television, especially with the intimate mediums, you have the eyes that can say everything. So you can say something with your voice that is completely flat and no inflection whatsoever, and it'll be in your eyes, and it'll play because it's truth, and it'll be seen and felt by people watching it. But when you go into the studio and you're doing voiceover, they can't see your eyes, and the CGI is not to the point now where you believe those eyes either. There has to be a tilt, a tip, a lilt, a hitch, or something in that very simple sentence you're saying, so that people feel it a little more. So it's more textured than you would do if you were doing film and television. Does that make sense?
It does.
And the other thing about the voiceover, with a film or television show, other than sitcom, you're redoing the scene in sections and from different angles all the time. With voiceover, especially I'm assuming we're talking like video games right now. With video games, it's line by line by line. 2 times, 3 times per line, and you move on to the next line. These days, luckily, you get context with it. You can kind of see what the other lines are around it, and the director knows, and they can tell you. But that's a new thing. 5 years ago even, you go to do a game, and you wouldn't have those. You would just have like an Excel sheet of all your lines, not knowing what the scenario is, what the context is, what was just said to you. So you don't even have that back and forth experience as you would as an actor with film and TV, let alone the whole vibe of doing theater. So that's does that give you an idea, kind of like how it's the same in that you're always going off of truth, but there's certainly a completely different way of interacting with the tools and the medium.
All right, let's put this to the test then.
Oh,
Random Thug number 3, shot by hero with rocket launcher. Go.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Okay, Thug number 3's got a rocket launcher. What?
No, Random Thug number 3 getting hit by a rocket launcher from the hero. Go.
What? What am I, your monkey? You're trying to put it to the test, meaning you want to see the difference between if it was on film and television or if it was in voiceover?
Actually, this is just an excuse for you to give a death rattle, that's all.
Yeah, pull out the speakers and everything.
Awesome. What was your parents' reaction when you went home and said, "Hey, I'm going to be an actor"?
Well, they were freaked out. They said, "What's a 7-year-old doing walking into the house?" You should have been inside in your room. What were you doing? I was really young when I decided I want to be an actor. I was 7 years old and watching. Used to be a thing. I think in different towns there's a thing called Dialing for Dollars, or there used to be way back in the 70s. That was me covering my mouth, ashamed of my age. And then after that, when the movie fell short of the 2-hour slot, then they would put on these like after things. And one of them were these documentaries, these short little movie documentaries that were done in the 50s and 60s called Hollywood and the Stars, and were narrated by Joseph Cotton. And I was watching. I'd never seen one before, and at the end of some movie that I sort of was watching as a 7-year-old, the Hollywood and the Stars came on, and they were talking about the magic of the movies and showing how this car windshield gets shot, and it was literally just about special effects. And it's kind of funny, as a 7-year-old, I didn't go, I want to do special effects. My first thought was, that is a fantasy land I get to go and pretend in, and pretend I'm getting shot at. I want to be an actor. That was my very, and it was like tingles, the chills up the spine. I knew that that's what I wanted to do, and it never changed from that day forward. And even when my dad said, "Oh, you'll probably want to be a cop one day, or you'll change your mind next year. You never know what you want to." He goes, "An actor's life is hard, blah blah blah." And of course, I always stayed true to it, even through my drug haze before I got to LA. But I guess I really wasn't staying true to it when I was in my drug haze, was I? I was like, dude, I want to be an actor in a year.
So, I guess we'll just get right down to the beefy part of it. Does celebrity come with a level of responsibility for being political?
You should ask a celebrity.
Oh, but I am.
See, I'm not a celebrity.
Well, compared to me,
I'm celebrated by a very small subset of people. They're a subset of a subset, even, I think. So that's not necessarily, which is cool. I love them. They're awesome people. But I don't even have a blue check on Twitter. I'm not a celebrity.
Well, I don't know. Compared to me, I mean, my mom thinks I'm cool, but that's about as far as it goes.
Oh, well, you're one up on me, buddy. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. My mom likes me. Actually, more than likes me, she loves me. All right, I'll admit it. But I hear where you're going, buddy. But that's actually, you just kind of hit on the point. For people that are listening, to get the full background about what I'm about to talk about, you go to Tea Party PSA, public service announcement, teapartypsa.com. And there's a video there. It kind of puts it all in a nutshell as to what went down in the first 10 seconds of it. So anyway, I got in trouble for calling a Tea Party group and asking about their level of retardation. But it turns out that they, I had just finished doing 2 Geico campaigns for a couple of years, and I was on a third one, but it turned out to be a tiny internet one, but they didn't know. Posted on my Facebook. They had saved the message, and they decided to attack. Because Geico was on a blacklist by this company because they pulled their ads from Glenn Beck after he called the president racist. So they were trying to get they just wanted to get some play off of it and get more attention for themselves and donations. And so I was the middleman for this. And so they named me, they outed me, they put me on Breitbart's blog. They put my phone number and the phone number of Geico to get me fired. It worked. I was removed from the campaign. I found out because one of my closest male friends auditioned for it the next day. And he said, "Was it this campaign, the amazing campaign?" I'm like, "Yeah, that would be it." And so we tried to work it out with them, and they just said no, they were moving on. And I said, "So I'm going to go public, but I will defend you guys for your choice." And so I went public and attacked this group back. This group, by the way, called Freedom Works, headed by Matt Kibbe with Wolverine sideburns. The point that I had about this is when it went in 2 waves. The first wave was their attack on me, and then all the very conservative people coming at me. And this included conservative voiceover people and radio people and people, most of them not in LA, but some in LA as well. Saying and people that think that they know what it is to be in Hollywood, and they go, when you represent Geico, you're a celebrity. And it's like, first off, I'm a voiceover. You don't know who does the voice on most of the things you listen to, unless it's an actual star. Secondly, I'm not a celebrity. I'm not allowed to have my own opinions about things. I mean, listen, Geico has a right to fire me if all of a sudden a stupid group like FreedomWorks shines a light on it. Sure, then they can fire me, absolutely. But it doesn't mean that I should have to live in fear of being a light shown on me and getting me fired. I mean, if that's what everybody who got a little upset did, it would be like me saying, I don't like that guy, my waiter's opinion about, gay marriage, so I'm going to go talk to the management at Applebee's and get him fired for what he said at the church meeting. Something stupid like that. It's the same kind of thing. So no, I think here, I'm not a believer in role models. I think parents should be role models. Whoever is raising the child, they're the role models. And I think everybody else, I mean, they can be inspirations, but not role models. Because I'm not going to live my life for you. I'm living my life for myself. Is that selfish? Well, yes, but so is feeding myself and housing myself. And how much money I make and how much I decide to give to charity, all of that. So when you start to say role model, it's this kind of ownership that strangers who've never met you are putting on you, and I think that's bullshit. Oh, sorry, you have to use the beep.
Oh, no, we'll probably let that go.
Oh, okay. Did that answer your question? I kind of rambled there. I'm sorry.
It was an awesome ramble.
Oh, good. Okay.
That leads us right into the last question. Is satire the only effective way remaining to make politics interesting to the average American?
Dude, just tune into Fox News and watch Sarah Palin talk. You don't have to satirize that. You just watch it. I think it's all entertaining as it is. Oh, I see what you're saying though. Is it to get people to be politically active?
Yeah.
It's the case has always been, and it always will be, when something is happening where it's going to affect you or the people that you know, that you're going to become active about it. You're going to become politically active about it. Otherwise, you tend to let those things slip by. So, I don't know if satire is the way to do it, but I think another way might be encouraging people to mix more. In other words, you don't know any gay people? Meet some gay people before you have an opinion about it. You don't know any people of a different ethnicity than your own? Meet some more people, befriend them, understand it more before you have an opinion about it. You think that the poor people should be able to pull themselves up by their bootstraps? Great. Go down to a soup kitchen, meet a few of them, and spend a few hours there, and then see if you really feel the same way once you talk to them and find out some of their stories. So, I mean, there's no absolutes on any of this, but there's a reason that there are, cliches and stereotypes, but that certainly, it's not necessarily truth. It's just, that was a ramble, and I'm just going to leave it as a dangling particle there. That's not even a particle. I think you know what I'm saying, is that it's, ultimately it's people being exposed to more, and you say satire, but if you look at, I'll just take the gay thing for a second, before Will and Grace, the things that we are considering now, as far as rights for the LGBT community, were unheard of. Who would have thought that in a period of 10 years we'd be where we are now? But that's because of mass media. It's because of our culture trying to reflect in one way or another what's going on. And so the more that people are aware of it, the more it's not foreign anymore. So I just wish people in the South had more televisions. So, more people in the South had TVs. No, that was bad. That's mean. And that was, by the way, cliche. And I was playing on a stereotype, and that was wrong of me. But I don't know anybody from the South.
Well, sir, thank you for taking the time out to talk with us.
You're welcome. Hey, can I plug one thing before you go?
You certainly can.
Actually, I wanted to plug a couple things. I'll plug dcdouglas.com, but I also want to plug this movie, because I'm assuming a lot of your people that are listening are fans of Resident Evil, which is why most people know me because of that huge fan base. Apocalypse Kiss is a film that will be coming out in 2014. Carmela Hazlett and her hubby, Christian Jude Grillo, put me in this film. because they were fans of Resident Evil. And even though the film is amazing, what they did with very little money just looks amazing. And I play the lead serial killer in it. Well, the only serial killer, I think. Well, no, that's not. Well, anyway, I play the main serial killer in it, and we turned the character as a nod to Albert Wesker, only in physical appearance because the character is very different. But physically dyed the hair blonde, and I got in shape and tanned up and all of that. And so it's our little wink to Resident Evil fans. And fans of Cowboy Bebop will know that I talked Steve Bloom into doing a cameo in the film as well. So it's 2014 Apocalypse Kiss. You can find the trailer on my website or just search for it, and definitely check it out when it comes out next year.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, sir.
Cool. Thank you, sir. Lovely meeting you.